What up, everybody? Scuffd here, and it's time for another deck list video from the Titan Death expansion. Actually, not just the Titan Death expansion, specifically the Sisters of Silence. We're going to get into it today. We're going to be doing ourselves a deck video with Varonika Sulath, or as I like to call her, Varonika Salt. I don't know why I call it that. Her name is clearly Varonika, but it's easier for me to remember. Varonika Sulath, Varonika Salt. When you think Varonika Salt, you might think from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because she wants it now. She wants the whole thing. I think, the 90s rock band. And then I always hear that, leave me lying here, because I don't want to go. So, let me tell you about this either before. It's the one that's either or nor. This is Varonika Sulath's deck. We're going to get into this a little bit because I am running the mission. And I'm playing around with some stuff. I found some things that work really well. Some things I'm trying to decide if I really want to keep including them or not. So we've got two things to look at first before we do a breakdown, really. We've got Varonika Sulath's ability, which is very basic. It's 2 energy, draw a card. If you end with less than 5 cards in hand, can act again. And I'll be honest with you, so far, out of my 8 games played, which is not a whole lot, but I've been on a roll, and every single one of them, I've never used her ability more than once in a turn. I've never even had the option to act again. This feels very lackluster. However, drawing is important for this deck. So it's important to note because you need pieces to go off. Then you've got the mission for the Silent Sisterhood, which is when a friendly troop dies, when attacking 4 times, you get the Talons of the Emperor reward, which then basically allows for your rally effects to trigger twice, right? All cards. Give me all cards. So when you have got a rally, there we go, Towns. Yeah, your friendly unit triggers rally, it triggers twice. So if it's rally deal damage, it deals damage a second time. If it's rally, increase the attack, it increases your attack twice. So it's a very handy card to have. You need to have pieces in your hand, troops in your hand to get it off. And if they're dying when they're attacking, they're not staying on board. And that's where the drawing comes in handy. Now, when this is all said and done, we'll take a look at some other card options that you can consider, especially other warlord options. But I don't think anybody's played with Varonika enough. I don't think anybody's played with her enough, and that's really why I'm giving her a shot more than playing with Kazran or Kendall. Even Kroll. Kroll I don't think would be ideal anyways because she's got a smaller starting hand. And Melina she's a creature for another time. I'm getting there with her. I just started with her, and it doesn't feel radically different, and I wanted to feel radically different. Varonika feels radically different right now. So let's take a look at a replay here, and then we'll break down the deck and the card choices that I've got currently in the build, and we'll talk about the reason why some of those are included. Okay, so obviously, ideally, one of your favorite matchups with the Sisters of Silence is Psychers. This was one of my first games out the gate trying out the mission. And I had a lot of cards in there. There's like, okay, rally effects, like what can we do? Without really getting into ideas as far as what to include. Like, you've got the ideal staples, you've got Euphemia King, you've got the Ice Dragons. Early game here, I just was like, I'll play the mission. Really should have just used the ability first off, then played the mission, and used the ability again. You're getting 2 card draws that way as opposed to the 1. Because really your first couple turns, that's probably what you're going to do. You're probably not going to do much else. Now, as you can see, we've got Vorax here. This isn't the best. I like trading Vorax for 2, but Vorax is going to trigger off the mission. It does not have to be a Sisters of Silence troop. It just has to be a friendly troop. It just has to be a friendly troop, so you've got your Goldstone Hunters, anything that flanks is ideal. Euphemia King herself in solo games, or if you get your opponent with no warlord, that's going to tick it down all by herself, which is very nice. Obviously, Penthu Dash I'm waiting for my little 1 jam, and I'm not seeing it here, so we're going to go the long game, unfortunately. But he is giving me some things to pick at with some flankers. And then you've got some standard, standard Sisters of Silence cards in here. We've got the Raven Guard and Raptor Guard in there, not Raven Guard, Raptor Guard in there. I tried some stuff out. Double Ice Dragons I found not as effective. I'm still not fully sold on them. 3 damage to a random enemy with stealth is nice as a rally, with the mission off at 6 damage to like maybe a stealth Conrad Kurz or a Korax. That's pretty cool. But they're a 2/2, and they don't do anything else. They don't stun it or anything else like that. So maybe as a one-of in there, that's something to consider. Not super fantastic. You know, not super fantastic, but something. Right now what we're doing is we're just trying to get some buys on the board. If I can't kill them when flanking, I'll hopefully have them still out here so I can kill them with attacking. Unfortunately, he drops the Izzarkir Ore and heals this thing up fully. So while Witch Hunters is nice, 3 damage, rally to all, like everything here's got 5 health. I'm gonna save these guys. We're gonna have to turtle up. We're gonna have to draw more cards. We're gonna have to, you know, let him have his day, as it were. But we do have some ticks. We're doing some damage here, mainly to put something on here to exchange, and if he goes in the face, this will be able to seal it out. If he heals it again, you know, it's gonna be a little bit harder. That was the idea with that attack. Now obviously he's got Quick Blood, he's got a Cleave Troop, he's got 5/5. I'm hoping he doesn't have a Warp Portal to bounce Izzarkir Ore, and he doesn't look like he does. He heals that troop, which is fine. That's not the problem troop. I can deal with that. I can deal with the 5/6. I really want to get rid of these two, and I definitely want to get rid of the Penthu Dast. Unfortunately, my jam at this point will be watered down, so there's no point in doing that. He's got his mission off well before I've got my mission off, so it's going to be a little bit of a different game, and almost a full health Magnus before 10 energy. So how do you turn this around? Keep watching, you'll see. I'll give you a hint. It's the mission. So what he does here is gives me a big opening. I can wipe out most of his board, right? I can also get 1 tick off on my mission. I've got a 6/5 on the board, which is nice. I'm willing to take 5 to the face if I have to, but I stun it, so I don't have to this turn. Next turn, I can follow it up again. And the Ice Dragons here, this is kind of proven why I was like, at 2, unnecessary. 1, I don't know, I still haven't yet played them for their ability. I'd like to, but I don't think they're ideal. They may be better off with a Informant Network. I'm still on the fence about that, so give it a try out. See what you think about Ice Dragons. Lucky high rolls there. We'll just have to take it. However, this is very nice. This is a good time in here. So what this will do is missions off. Great, cool. I can play that now. All my rallies are going to double up. I've got currently 6 cards in hand. I don't want to play Eben Neruda just yet because I'll overdraw. Even though this would be great to draw 6 cards, I'll have, you know, 1 card overdraw, and then I'll overdraw my turn. So I'm going to put a card down on the board. I'm going to play a second card so I can play Neruda on my next turn and draw 6 cards. I've got bodies on here now. These are little, they're not fantastic, although the Snow Condor's rally effect going off twice, very nice. Still dealing with that Penthu Dast, by the way. That thing is going to be a thorn for way longer than I would have liked. Got 14 cards in the deck. Health doesn't look fantastic. Maybe we'll get some healing off with Eben. We shall see. Alright, so we can handle that. This one here gives, if you have no other troops, it gets frontline, so it's kind of a dud. Right? Not super fantastic. Thankfully, we get Silver Osprey. We also get some other stuff that we'll need the next turn. But Silver Osprey is going to be able to deal with that 10-10. Easy peasy. Double rally, very nice. playing a 4 energy to get rid of a 10-10 or a vehicle. This even does, you know, damage, additional damage, obviously, with ordnance to Titan weapons. So he spent it in resources to get rid of this 4-3. Meanwhile, as long as this is the only troop on the board, I finally have my Steel Talon Hawk to go into it. But we're not. We're going to go longer, aren't we? Okay. So be it. We'll play out the Witch Hunters and the Steel Talon Hawk. That's what we're going to have to do. Let's burn. Burn out with these guys. Do it cheaper. Because I really want to get this king off. But as long as he's got that troop, Euphemia King is really just sitting in my hand waiting for an ideal time. So we'll load up, we'll board up. Let's lock down that 3-2 so it can't throw it away. He's got lots of Psycho Energy here, enough for a hard removal option, plus he's generating tactics, which is frustrating. He's generating Warp Portal. Thankfully, he didn't have that Warp Portal with the Izzarkar Ore. And then he gets Penthudast again. But at this point, I can deal with that. That's 6 damage coming in from the Witch Hunters. So. And here we go. Double burn for 3. That's 6 damage. Board wide. Plus, on his Warlord, wipes out a troop, puts a 6-5, 7-5 body on the table, doubling up my attack, giving me sneak attack. Hitting hard. It's 4, 8, 11, plus this, that's 17 in one turn with 2 cards. And having a couple on the board. I mean, to be fair, we had a couple on the board. But now, that lead, like, my health has not shifted much below 20 after that healing of playing Ebon Neruda, and his health has gone down significantly. Now granted, he's playing a couple troops here. He's playing much more Thousand Suns troops that you might not typically see, like the 10-10, but being Psyker, that was my one anti-Psyker card. Like really, that was my one anti-Psyker card. So now that I've got him alone, I can double up my attack here. That's 6. This is 6. And then, like, let's just go to face. My deck is very low. My deck is 5 cards, so I have a 1 in 20 chance, a 20% chance, basically, of getting King back. And he's gone all the way down. He's gonna have to play his Reckoning. That's it. That's his thing. He's got the shield. Now, I save Raptor Guard here, ideally, if there's something to flank. So, I'm going to save that. I'll burn up the shield here. Knowing that I've got that Euphemia in here, ideally I may not be able to play it this turn, but I'm going to go ahead and put another body down, drop a card, and then attack, because I can. Oh, I take that back. You know what? I take that back. This is the one game I must have used the ability. I didn't even realize it. I did. It took all the way down to having almost no cards in the deck. So, I mean, that should tell you something. That should tell you something. So we're going long. He's got some health. He's got the shield. I still have got Raptor Guard. I've got Great Tithe here as well, if I want to follow that up. But I think I hold off on Great Tithe on this game because he bounced that Mechatur back to his hand, so there's going to be another time where there'll be a front line that I want to deal with. And you know what? If I can heal for 10, let's go ahead and heal for 10. You know what I mean? Like, this 2-1 isn't going to do me any good, but that's fine. That's fair. I mean, with all the Psychic Energy that he's got, at this point, he's a Psyker 8. And he's generating a Psyker ability every turn. Like, that's understandable. That's believable. Well, we've got 2 cards in the deck. What could they be? You've seen a lot of the tools that I used here in this first draft. And At this point, like, Tithe, not going to be as effective, so let's take a chance. Let's double up. Doubles up. There you go. Now, I could have played the Jam. I could have played the Great Tithe, but again, he bounced that Mechador Cabal back up to his hand. The deck got tweaked following that. I took out a couple cards. Obviously, I took out 1 Ice Dragons. There were some other things in there that I found like, you know, do I, don't I? I'm still not sold 100% on a couple of these. I put in a Coal because I didn't have one. And there's a reason why I've only got 1. It might be, you might think, well, the Coal is something that you put 2 of in there. This deck right now is currently running a lot of troops and very few tactics. Obviously, you want the mission. Steel Talon Hawk is just very, very handy to have against like a Kaiser Lane. Would have been handier to have against that Penthudast if I had that earlier. Ice Dragons could probably get changed out. This is a card that you could probably change out here. Secretary Axiarch just works so well because you have so many infantries. Steel Foxes, you know, in any other Sisters deck, I don't run them anymore because they're terrible. But with a mission deck, not just Varonika, but specifically with this mission, they serve a purpose. They both stun a troop and they take off your mission. For 2 energy, it's worth it. It buys you a turn, as you saw in that game. You'll see it in a couple other games. Ice Serpents are always handy, as is Prosecutor Mistress. Just 1 damage to all abilities, and you put a 2/4 in the body is very good. I put in a Raven's Claw, and then I kept the Snow Condors in there. I've doubled up on White Falcons, and I kept the Hannonsmore, just a single one. I think I was initially deciding to run 2, and not as effective. If you time it right and you play it right, 1 will be enough. The same goes for White Asps. And then, like I said, the Coal is that one that helps with the board. You've got a lot of board answers in your troops already with rally damage or flanking, so you don't need to wait on this big 7 energy tactic too much. It's good to have, but it's not necessary to have. And Witch Hunters really helps fill that void. Like this right here, like deals 2 to all, and I put a 6/5 body. Colt deals 3 to all, and I get maybe a couple energy to play like a low body troop. I'd rather have that 6/5. So that is a couple tweak changes. I'm not quite sold on Ice Dragons. I'm not quite sold on maybe double Ice Serpents, double Steel Talon Hawk. Like, that's a hard call. Like, there's a lot of good choices. Take a look at a couple more replays, and then we'll look at the options that you can consider if you don't like those cards, or if you don't have them all, because the mission really kind of hinges on a couple key rallies, but not all the rallies. Okay. So Borax looks good. Ice Serpents will be handy against Dark Angels. There's going to be troops to put out there. We're going to see which way he goes. He's playing Mission. Okay, and then it turns out that he's playing double Mission in this game. So this might not seem like ideal, but at the same time, if you've been paying attention to a couple of the videos, people are trying this out, playing it, and it can go off. It can work pretty well. Double Mission Lion. Usually you're just going to get the 1 mission, but you can also get his Reckoning as well. And if you get his Reckoning and you play your deck right, you could get his other mission. So then you've got 3 things that just like go crazy. Cannot let that Israfel stand. And as it happens, I've got a troop that I want to get rid of in my hand. So we'll take that off. We'll take 3. He's running with 3 cards in hand plus his Reckoning, which right now is a dead card. And then he's getting the draws off, but I'm just going to let it sit for a moment. I'm going to build up the hand because we want to have some key cards. I want to have his troops on the board. Why am I locking his troop as opposed to his warlord? Because I think his warlord could very well have, like, use his ability. If his warlord attacks, fine. If his troop survives, that allows me to throw my flankers into it, right? That allows me to throw a flanker into it and kill it that way. So that's why I keep it around as opposed to keeping the warlord around. That's the strategy, anyways. We know that he's got another one of those. He's going to play that back. He's obviously playing Raven Guard, heavy. And while the Secretary Axiarchs have got one survivor, and that kind of throws off your ability to kill them on your turn, your opponent doesn't want them to live, so typically they're going to go into them and give you that one little extra health. And that's, sure, all right. Thank you. I'll take it. It takes off my mission. Very good. Very nice. Very good. Very nice. And we'll just go ahead and hit you with that. And notice here, I probably should have thrown the Axiarch into his face. I didn't. Because I was thinking, well, you know, all right, it worked out because then he's not using his ability at all. So it works out that way. We've got board wipe if we need it. We're going to save that. Got some damage. We got 2 more ticks to go, but he's got his mission off. And then he's got the one right here. What he's got off is his Relentless. You get +1/+1 to troops in your hand. So we're going to start seeing some very large troops. With that being the case, Great Tithe will still be handy. See, this is what I'm talking about with the Cull. Like, I got rid of 2 troops. Okay, I had enough energy to draw a card, right? Like, I couldn't quite play Witch Hunters for benefit. We can still do that later. But that's a prime example why I don't have 2 Culls, because it's good. It's not great for what I want to do. I want to get troops down so then I can use those troops effectively, throw them away on my turn, you know? In the meantime, we'll gleefully take this. If he's buffing stuff in hand, we're gonna have something large come out. It'll be nice to have 2 4/4s. Sure enough. Sure enough. And that'll be 1 tick on the mission. Don't think we're going to get a double Neruda play here, and I really need a few more cards, but this is really good. Even though I didn't heal any here, I've got the Vorax as well, and another Steel Talon to deal with anything that he drops that's pumped. So we're looking good. We're looking good to get the mission again. That's gnarly. I won't lie. That's a gnarly troop. But with these 2, just even her alone, that's going to be something. So we'll hit face, though. Why are we hitting face? Because I know what I got. I got the Great Tithe. So that's 5 damage to face as opposed to throwing away. I'll buy myself a turn. He's only got 2 cards in his hand that he can use. Now, granted, they're getting pumped. Right? 3 cards if there's troops. One of them turned out to be a tactic, so that's not a troop getting pumped. The other one he just drew. He's leaning hard into the Ravenwing. He's trying to find himself some answers. Now is the time. Now is the time. We'll hit that Vorax. We'll hit that mission. And we'll draw a card. Because why not? We are good to go. We're ready to rock. Like, it's tick, tick, ticking down. And he's hanging in there. Although he's playing Ravenwing, I don't know if he was playing like a hexagram, if he's got that in his hand. He's really only played Ravenwing troops. I haven't seen Dreadwing. I haven't seen a Deathwing. So, I mean, he is putting out large bodies down. But we're going to be putting out some large bodies as well. And yeah, this is just double burn. This is 4 damage to his face. We're gonna lock that 8/4. Like, we can do it again. We can give +4 to our warlord. Could have done it that way too, and then he'd be down. He'd be dead. That'd be lethal right there. We're playing around. I think he recognized it. So Nassau it poses an interesting option when you've got a warlord who is semi-mono warlord. So there's not a lot of flanking potential, depending on how he places cards and, you know, what he gets. If he gets bikes, he can deal with anything I throw out. If I leave anything with my low health, he could very well go into precognition, in which case I can't hit him either. So it poses an interesting dilemma in how to play against him. And that's really where having the cards is important, like drawing up, getting all the tool options. Unfortunately, the longer I go, the longer he goes to get his tools. It's going to be a matter of pushing and seeing who is going to bend first. So right now he's up on health. I don't know what he's getting with the command bridge. Hoping it's not Paragon Spear. We're going to have to put some pressure down, though. We've got too many cards in hand to use my ability up another time to draw. I'm going to keep that counterattack. Use it when it's a little bit more useful. Maybe ideally on like a Secretary Axiarch might be handy. So right here, no Paragon Spear, and he is playing with the bikes. So that confirms my suspicions I'm not going to be able to stick too many things out. So I'm going to have to whittle them away slowly but surely with some other methods, right? So we're going to do this. We're going to hit him hard. And we're going to hit him, you know, where he's going to have to decide, do I use my ability or do I just keep bouncing the bikes? And I think he's like, well, I won't use my ability here because I got the bikes. And if he attacks, then he could precog. So I don't want that. I don't want him dying on my turn and getting that mission. So I won't do that. Fair enough. So we'll burn, we'll put some pressure on. Let's double up on the troops. And then for good measure, now is when we'll throw down the counterattack just for some extra longevity on my next turn, ideally. Instead, what we get here is we get first strike play, or sorry, his ability play for precognition. So, okay, can't attack, can't use these guys. Let's turtle up. If he stays this way now that I've got Euphemia King, I can start hitting for some damage. I'm going to keep this alive, ideally, so that Euphemia King hits him for 7. Like, that's cool. I can go with that strategy. He bounces. That's fair. But when he does this here, this opens up some options for me with my Steel Foxes finally. I can deal with the Melgator on the board. I'm not sure what other tools he's got. Overdrawing a flanker is unfortunate, but stunning a Sentinel troop is not too shabby. And that's going to leave me where I don't want to play the Steel Talon Hawk. I don't want to risk jamming that and unstaining it, as well as removing the Sentinels. So we're going to double up here, make it a little bit harder for him to kill these. That's fine. That's fine. We got flankers. We got some can't attack on his Sentinel stuff. Like, we've got tools here. Yes, I can handle that. I can handle that nicely, actually. Both ways. So, we'll be able to take out both of those. That's another tick on the mission. Then we'll jam it just to get rid of it, just for good measure. I know I've got another one here, so if he throws down like a Telemon Dreadnought, I've got 12 cards left in my deck, I'll get it, but I really wanted to get off the Euphemia King and get that pressure on there while I can. Because I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to play it next turn. We're at 10 energy. You could throw down Telemon Dreadnought, and Euphemia King is then not going to be doing anything in my hand. So instead here, he's going for first strike. He's got the town. That's mission right there. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'll take it. I'll happily take that. What's even better, though, is it gets a little bit better. It gets a little bit better because of the energy curve, because where we're at here, I can play my mission and I can play my Witch Hunters and fry his entire board. And I will happily do so. He made it happen. So now he's down to 5 health, and like, what you gonna do? Like, precog? Can he heal? Can he heal enough to avoid 2 Hannon's mortars? The answer to that is no, he cannot. That's all he's got, and that will be the game. I saved that for quite a while because I wanted this situation with the mission. That's 8 damage to his warlord. So I saved this one card there for a reason. And that's why I keep 1 in the deck. So far, I haven't found a reason to not have one of those. Now, taking a look at options that you should consider, or consider if you don't fully like all of these cards, because I'm not sold on all of them yet either. I'm actually probably going to be putting in Goldstone Hunters. I think Goldstone Hunters is super important as a fast unit that's conditional with you having other troops. Well, guess what? As you saw the deck, I got a lot of troops. So this will tick off mission. This will deal 3 to 4 at face if you've got a Secretary Axiarch. That feels like a no-brainer. So I'm going to find a way to put 2 of those in there because that's just too good. That's one to consider. You can also consider maybe a Final Sacrifice. Final Sacrifice won't help you tick with your mission. Maybe, possibly, instead of Final Sacrifice, you could go with, where is it? Coup de Grace. Coup de Grace, which is, damaged troop is destroyed and you draw a card. Well, you're going to have troops that are going to kill or be killed and leave some damaging things. Coup de Grace is not a bad hard removal option. It's actually a pretty tasty choice. That's something to consider maybe in place of one of these other troops. It's a really good option. I want to find a way to put Fanatic Discipline in this deck, but I don't think this is the right deck for that. I think it's just a little bit too more combo heavy and focused on the mission as opposed to bodies. Now, you could put in the typical Execution Blade, Cleansing Blade, but really I'm using Varonika's ability to draw cards. That's really what it comes down to. I'm using her ability to draw cards. I'm not using Secret Cadre or Knight Centura in this build because these are ideally troops that I don't want to die, that I want to protect or get longevity out of, and that's why I've gone with the Flankers and the Fast instead, because they will be, disposable. These guys are harder to get rid of, and ideally not ones that you want to get rid of if you're playing that way. So then, as I said, it doesn't have to be just, Scissors of Silence. It can be any troop. But Pursuer Mistress has got a sacrifice, and she comes in stealth. This isn't a bad option. And then you get a 7/7 on the board. The problem is the Captured Psyker can attack if he's on the board. It's a big, large card. Okay, that probably can't attack if you don't have any other troops. And then you can't get rid of him on your turn by attacking. So it kind of is, it feels whiffy. I don't have White Tigers in here either, just because of the cost. And really, if I want to deal 4 damage, plus I've got my mission and then the Witch Hunters for less energy at that point. This is great if I've got a lot of troops on the board. Again, I just don't think that's the right build with the mission deck for this. You could put in some cultists. Believe it or not, you could put in some cultists here and make this a cultist build. I could very easily squeeze in Preacher of Doom. Preacher of Doom would give me a lot more infantry. Whenever my infantry dies, guess what? Almost everything I have is infantry. Then I get a cultist in my hand, which I can then play out, and then those cultists die, and then that takes down my mission as well. The problem with that is as far as cultists go, you'll note that there's no cultists with rally effects. None of them have rally effects. So the kicker is you get infantry that will die to take down your mission, but then the reward is you're getting infantry that don't do anything with your mission. So if you don't have some of these cards, or you're looking for more bodies, that's one way to go about it. You could also play Unidentified Vessel to draw up 2 troops faster. You basically will be getting your Secretary Axiarchs and your Steel Foxes, but those are both very handy for your mission. Then possibly you could throw in, like I said, like an Informant Network in place of Ice Dragons. It's probably a better bet. It's probably a better way to go. Melgator is not a bad option to consider as a legendary goes. It's always useful in returning things. You could return your own stuff and get a rally off again. Like that's a handy card if you can find a place to squeeze it in there. A lot of the cards that I went with outside of the Sisters of Silence, I really went with the rally effects. Like, what am I getting? Like, I could put in a second Furion, right? It's a cheap guy, again, gives +1/+1 to adjacent troops twice. Problem is, So I'm not creating troops, I have to draw them, and while he's cheap, he doesn't do anything to advance the mission, he just benefits from the mission. Whereas the Hanun's mortars, as you saw there, they benefit from the mission, but they're also a 2/4 body that I can play without the mission and still cause some damage. That's still going to be handy to have, so that's useful that way. There's not a whole other lot of rally play cards. Like potentially I could throw in, where are they at here? The Ensign Teuton to double draw card, but I'm not playing Solar Auxilia, so I'm not going to gain a buff here. Now, that doesn't mean I can't play Solar Auxilia, and then you change your entire deck around Solar Auxilia Sisters, and then benefit from this. This guy then becomes like a +1/+1/+1/+1, so then he's a 5/4. But that feels like a long way to go for a reward that doesn't damage your opponent. And really, as you saw, a lot of my rally effects here are damaging my opponent. That's where the pressure's on. If I can double the damage, that's just a better way to go, as opposed to doubling stats or doubling a draw. Like doubling a draw is nice. I've got a warlord that draws cards. I don't need a lot of draw. I got that up. I've got that covered. What I need is troops that do things. So that's it. Those are the things that you consider. Now, obviously, as I said, I mentioned at the start of this video, Varonika may not be the best for this mission. Honestly, Kyra Kazran might be better for the mission. She puts in troops in play as opposed to drawing cards, but she's got a battle honor that draws cards, and Kyra Kazran is very good. She's very solid. She puts out, she makes work. A lot of options with her board clear state. She's got troops that she can throw on the board, little 1/3s that can very easily die on your turn and take the mission off. Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. First turn, play a Novice Sister. It survives. Second turn, play your mission, kill the Novice Sister, play another Novice Sister. You know, you're off to a good start. But that would change your deck build. That would change your deck build a lot. And as I said, nobody's playing with Varonika Sulath, and I want to. I want to give her a try. I want to make her work. I want to tell you about the Seether before. So now, one thing I should just as I'm playing her, and as I said, I mean, I complained about her ability, and yeah, I used it in one game where I acted again, but I really feel as Mistress of the Black Fleet, this ability just doesn't do anything for me. Like what I'd like to see. And if Everguild's listening this late into the video, great. Pick the idea. 2 energy draw card. If it's a Sisters of Silence vehicle, reduce its cost by 2. Mistress of the Black Fleet. And there's not too many vehicles, but the vehicles that they have can come in very handy. And they're all very like Black Fleet Witch centric, right? You've got Lady's Grace. Imagine this costing 3. This would come in handy. You've also got my favorite that I don't think we see enough here is the Chiron Acquisitor. That's really what I would think about here. Boom, stealth, an 8/9 that costs 7 all of a sudden lowers the cost. Like, I just like to see that play more. That's it. And then like Frozen Heart, right? Is there any other vehicles? That's it. So, I mean, it would just put a couple other card options into the game. Maybe if you want to play a Sulath vehicle deck, a little bit fatter Sisters, but she's still drawing cards. I don't know. That's just me speculating. I think that could be an interesting option because she doesn't get played at all. And hopefully, maybe this makes you give her a whirl, or at least try the mission with Kyra Kazran. Tell me how it works for you, because I've had a lot of fun with it so far. I'm going to put this video up later today. I think it's in the shop. Finally got around to playing it, and it is in the shop today. So maybe by the time if you see this video today, the day I put it out, and you want to play it, go into the shop and get that mission. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait. So that's it for me, guys. Until next time, keep playing Legions, and we'll talk to you later.